Bonjour, bienvenue au French Tech Podcast. Welcome to the French Tech Podcast. We're recording here at the Asia Startup Summit, the second edition of the Asia Startup Summit, organized by the French Chamber of Commerce in cooperation with French Tech Singapore. And it's very happy to welcome Elodie, the Managing Director of Asia for Beebryte. Welcome, Elodie.
Thank you, Nikolai.
Could I ask you to quickly introduce yourself and your company?
Sure. So my name is Elodie. I'm on top of being a managing director, I'm also leading the sales activity here for Beebryte. I have a background as an engineer, but I wanted to look a bit more in the human side of technology, I want to say, with interactions with people. And today what Beebryte is doing is actually energy efficiency for air conditioning systems. Using artificial intelligence to make it totally automatic, and on top of saving energy, also improving the comfort within the buildings for people.
Wow, so let's unpack that a little bit. Energy efficiency for buildings. That's a huge issue, right, in terms of environmental impact.
Definitely.
To get a sense of the scale of this problem, do you have any idea what the percentage environmental impact is of buildings and the overall?
So buildings represent more than 40% of
40%
global consumption.
Wow.
Worldwide. And air conditioning systems, especially in Asia, represent more than 40% of that.
Wow.
So doing math quickly, like air conditioning is 12% of global consumption.
Wow, that's crazy. 12% of global consumption. And what kind of improvement could your technology bring to that consumption?
Well, up to 30, even in some case 40% reduction in the consumption. Wow. Obviously, it depends on how efficient the building is in the first place, right? If you're talking about a very efficient building, then it's going to be a slightly lower range.
Right.
But those are, numbers that we've achieved.
So theoretically, right, on the upside, you're talking about 5 to 6% of global consumption worldwide that your technology could impact. Wow, that's
more
really amazing. More or less. So we're recording here at the Startup Summit. You've pitched this morning. We're at the end of the Singapore FinTech Festival here.
Yep.
You've been pitching all week. Could you tell us a little bit about what's been going on here?
Yeah, so we're actually part of the Switch, another FinTech Festival.
Oh, okay. Right, Switch.
On technology and on finance. And we had another pitch earlier this week. It was on me. It was on one of my colleagues for Slingshot, which is a worldwide competition organized by Singapore and Enterprise Singapore in specificity. And there was a competition where there's more than 2,400 startups that applied in first place from more than 120 different countries. We got selected to be part of the top 100.
Wow.
Had a 2-minute pitch earlier this week. And that concluded with us getting a $10,000 prize. So
fantastic.
Quite happy about it.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's really awesome. And so here in Asia, there's a giant potential for what you're doing, right? I mean, like you said, so 40% of all the consumption is here in Asia. Is there a large uptake here in the market? Are people responsive to optimizing that energy usage for buildings?
Yes and no. I would say yes, but I would say the incentives and the interests can be very different depending on the buildings and the people you talk to. Some are definitely interested in actually reducing the energy consumption for the carbon footprint in the environment. For others, it's just a question of money, which is a good start anyway. But the incentives and the interests are different, I would say.
So you got started here, the company got founded here, you've moved your headquarters to France, is that correct?
Yes, exactly. One of the reasons when we moved to France, the first one is like we got a huge grant from Europe, like to be fair, and France.
Right,
so it helped. The second reason is that our core job and specialty is actually artificial intelligence. And 4 years ago when we started in Singapore, it was very hard, especially for a startup, to find like talents on the market for that, which was less hard in Europe. So that's one of the reasons we moved. And now that we're more established and there's more artificial intelligence talents on the market, it's easier for us to come back here and actually have an activity because, well, Asia compared to Europe, where they have like real seasons, there's a lot more air conditioning systems here. So it actually really makes sense on a business point of view to be here.
Right. But that's definitely a bridge that makes sense, right? Doing the R&D in Paris, easier talent access. Lyon, sorry, I just automatically assumed. My bad. So doing the research back in France, right, and creating that bridge here to the market in Southeast Asia.
Today,
where most of the growth potential is.
Today we're actually still doing some of the research here. Like in France, we have a slightly different activities. We're also looking at heating systems or some industrial processes as well, since there's not that much aircon. But the main development on the air conditioning system is done here in Singapore, while the other equipment are done in Europe. So today we're balancing a bit who's working on what according to the local market.
So what are the next steps for you here in Asia?
So we actually just started looking at other markets, especially Malaysia and the Philippines. Just getting a door there. We already have a project in the Philippines, so we're quite happy about it. And we actually just launched a fundraising that we're aiming to close in March. It's a Series B for 6 million euros. And one of the main objectives of that Series B and the money that's going to come in with it is helping us to deploy even more in Asia. So actually having offices or people full time in Malaysia and the Philippines. Also looking at Thailand, possibly Indonesia, and countries around. And if everything goes well, probably Australia and New Zealand by early 2021.
Fantastic. So very exciting things just around the corner.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
and
Nikolai.
good luck with that series.
Always a pleasure.